All right, why don't you start by telling us your name and how long you've been with Bellagala?
Hello, my name is David Esquire, and I have been a professional photographer with Bellagala for going on 4 years. Cuatro años.
Oh, and he can speak Spanish. He's a man of multiple
Hmm.
talents. Awesome. That's a really long time. Good for you. And what made you want to become a photographer in the first place?
Oh gosh, that's a huge can of worms you're opening up right there. But
That's a big
simply put, oh yeah, it's like, well, it all started in the beginning. There was darkness upon the void,
question.
and then David appeared with a camera in his hand. No, I started. My mother was a photographer, and I had fallen in love with the medium when I was just a kid. I had picked up one of her books, like How to Take Pictures with Kodak, and just started realizing that through the camera, through my lens, I could actually impact and positively change the world. And that's the simple version of it. That's the Cliff Notes version, the Bellagala version.
I love that. I like how you say that you realize that you could change the world with just your camera lens, because that's a very deep thing, but it's very true.
It is. It's very, very true. If you think about it, one of my colleagues, Annie Leibovitz, the last photograph captured of John Lennon was one that she had done right before he was, just hours before he was sadly murdered. And it was the portrait with him and Yoko Ono on the bed. There's many other portraits that just really stand out. And to think that I could just see the world through my lens, push a button, and be able to not only capture that moment in time that will never happen again, but to be able to positively impact the world around me and then spherically impact the rest of the world. I think that's really, really cool.
That is super cool. Wow, I really like that answer. So this kind of leads into the next question then. It might be a similar answer, but what makes you continue to pursue photography?
The changes, the technological changes, they're phenomenal. And you never stop learning. I'm a firm believer with anything that you do in life, you need to understand the rudimentary, the fundamental skills, like all of it. You've got to have your cornerstones, you have to have your foundation. From there, you can begin to start to bend those rules. And from there, you can actually break the rules and rewrite them to possibly come up with something better or different. And with photography, it never stops. It's like your creative brain. You can never exhaust your creativity. It just continues to go. And with photography, this is where I nerd out. I love how math and science and psychology, that all plays into what we do. It's not just, oh, it's a pretty scene, click, and then the camera magically makes this beautiful, gorgeous portrait or landscape appear. You need to understand so much more about that. And I'm a bit of a nerd like that. And then the technology. I mean, to think that where things were when I was a kid with film to where things are today and the incredible advances. I mean, we have iPhones, but then you have the Xiaomi, was it the Mi 10 T Pro, who knows what numbers and letters they're adding onto it. And it's got like this 100+ megapixel sensor in it. And then DJI is making advances and everything just continues to get smaller. I mean, Moore's law will kick in eventually, but everything gets smaller, but the quality of the product of what you're working with gets smaller. So like DSLRs are about to become a thing of the past. In a few more years, mirrorless cameras will be a thing of the past. And we'll just be walking around like, I'm going to take my iPhone and put a lens on it. Like kind of like what we do right now.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy how much technology impacts our jobs. So
Totally.
a very cool answer. So my next question for you is, what specifically interests you about weddings?
No two weddings are the same. It's that reminds me of the intro to an incredible, incredible story. It was the worst of times, it was the best of times, and the best of times and the worst of times. Because a wedding does bring out so much out of people that are just not only good things, but then you kind of learn some things about family and friends that you didn't really know. But when it comes to photographing the weddings, the majority, I would have to say 99.9% of my weddings, everybody like parents, day and age, parents, some of them are separated, maybe one or two times, you never know. People tend to check their egos at the door. And I love how a wedding can truly bring out the best in people. I've seen parents to where they will cross the threshold to the church and then all of a sudden they're like best friends. And then the end of the night, it's like they're holding a knife to each other's jugular. No, I'm saying that, obviously, just comically, but it's really neat to see that and to see so many positive things come out of it and to see families come together to be able to witness that and to capture that. And I think one of the biggest wedding stories for me and what it really impacted me and continued to further, like I would have to say inspire me, would be a wedding that I did probably 10 years ago. And it was a military wedding. And I got a phone call from the bride's dad after I delivered the photography. And I didn't know it was him, first of all. So, because the person that was on the phone, the voice was crackling. And I kind of thought it was him, but I didn't know for sure, I should say. And then eventually I knew it was him. And he was just in tears looking at the photos of his beautiful daughter and the family and how everybody came together. And this is a man that just retired military, just really very stonewalled kind of an emotion kind of a guy. And to have somebody like that just be train wrecked with emotion and just fell in love with the photos. Or another instance where one of my weddings for Michelle and Raphael, Michelle is a cancer survivor and she had cancer in her chest and in her larynx, just everywhere. And so she had all these really big scars on her neck. And during the period of time leading up to the engagement shoot, the mother of the bride had reached out to me and, can you get rid of these scars? I'd really love to be able to enjoy this beautiful work that you're going to do without all the scars, just trying to put that piece of her life, not that she doesn't want to ignore it, but she just wanted these beautiful photos. I'm like, okay, of course. Deliver the engagement shoot. About a few weeks later, I get this package in the mail. And then later that day, it was the mother calling me, did you get my package? And she's weeping and just how excited she was. And those are powerful moments for me to know that, again, I can have this positive impact on so many people and then have it on a global scale to where it's not just in America. It's not just in the United States or Europe. It can be anywhere. And very fortunately, my camera has taken me just about everywhere on planet Earth. It's really neat. So I love seeing that. And it's the same no matter what culture you're in. It doesn't matter. I have had the honor of photographing Indian weddings, Pakistani weddings, you name it, Jewish, Russian, Greek Orthodox, Catholic, and everything in between. And everybody has the same spectrum of emotions. Everybody comes together in the same way, regardless of where you're at. And that's cool. That's really, really cool. Okay, that was a little bit of a larger Cliff's Notes version, a bigger Bellagala version.
That's a very good answer. I really liked everything that you said. So my next question for you is just, how would you describe your style?
Well, my personal slogan is a riot of color in a gray world. And literally that just parallels with my style of photography. If I were to use adjectives, it would have to be sexy, romantic, playful, timeless, classic. My goodness, it just goes on from there. Passionate, colorful. It's a wide gamut. But at the end of the day, it really boils down to helping people feel not only confident in front of the camera, but they feel sexy, they feel handsome, they feel in such a way that they've never experienced either in front of the camera or viewing their portraits. And that's huge. I love that. And it's fun. It's a blast. If we're not laughing and giggling and smiling and wanting to go out for a pint of Newcastle Brown Ale and a platter of nachos, what are we doing? What are we doing here?
I love that. Your style is amazing. I have seen your work and it's amazing. That's the only word I can say to describe it. It's beautiful. So my last question for you is just, tell us some of your hobbies and your interests outside of photography.
Sure. I would have to say music. Grew up in the music industry and I'm extremely passionate about music, almost every genre of music. I am a huge 80s buff and Duran Duran is the best band in the world. So I mean, if you want somebody that's not an 80s fanatic, call that guy. No, I love music. I create music. I've been a resident DJ at clubs before in the past. Way back in the olden days, I was a model and a professional dancer, but more currently, I'm still involved in that particular industry to a point. I love movies. I love sitting down and psychologically breaking apart a movie and enjoying it to see where they went, how they wanted to create what they create, to not copy, but to share with you what Keanu Reeves had shared in a documentary about the Matrix. And he was describing the Wachowskis. And he said that one of the things that he loved about the Wachowskis is that they would say, they're going to look at something right here, but then let's look at it over here. Let's look at it over here. Let's look at it here, and then here. And they experience and film and create in a spherical manner. And in a lot of ways, my life lives like that and moves forward like that. But I also like to be creative like that. So I'll watch movies and tear them apart, looking at it like, well, why did they shoot it like that? I would have done it like this. Or listen to tons and tons of music. And when it comes to music, not only is Duran Duran the best band in the world and who I listen to a lot, but then there's also other artists like Moby, Above and Beyond, goodness, country western. Then you get into like old school, like blues. Great album if you ever want to listen to, and if you appreciate country western, and blues and bluegrass, would be Oh Brother, Where Art Thou soundtrack. Play that when you're having an epic barbecue. That's perfect. It's absolutely perfect.
Noted. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, David. You are a very interesting person, and it was nice to virtually meet you. Hopefully, we'll be working together again. Yeah, virtually. Hopefully, we'll be working together in person again soon. But thank you so much for taking the time. Those are all the questions that I have for you today. So thanks again.
You're totally welcome. It's an honor to be a part of the Bellagala team. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Okay, you have a great rest of your day, okay?
Thanks, you too.
Bye.
Bye.